Oh, we're going to roll in again, people. We're back, the Unleashed podcast. It's been a big year. I do want to actually set a tone here just before we start because I actually am going overseas in a couple of weeks, or in a week, I should say. So I'm going to be away for a couple of weeks. We don't have any planned podcasts that we are going to be bringing out at the moment, but I'm trying to set up a space in the UK and get a couple of footballers on. So hopefully we can do that and get you some podcasts and content out, but we will be back at the start of August to keep the show going. Now, this is a person that I've come across a long time ago, actually, doing some very weird stuff around footy content. And when I say weird, the first video I came across, it was going to every AFL club in Melbourne in one day. And I thought, what in the world is that? And then I looked into this person a little bit more, and an absolute genius when it comes to content creation, and someone that's paving the way around YouTube, particularly across the AFL or an AFL focus as such. And I'm a big YouTube guy. So Caden MacDonald, mate, it's a pleasure to have you on the show finally.
Jake, thanks for having me on, mate. You've had some amazing guests. I've been flicking through the TikTok and seen some of the stories in the yarn. So I'm keen to talk about my niche AFL sort of stories that I've got. But thanks for having me on.
Mate, yeah, it's great. It's great to have you. Now, you have been doing YouTube for quite a while. Since when did you start? Was it 2017,
2016? Fired it up in 2016.
Wow,
so
that's a long time, 6 years.
I'm a veteran now.
You are a vet.
I am
Jesus Christ.
So I was trying to get into the radio industry. I did community radio in Geelong, did a bit of community radio in Melbourne. I went to radio school in Melbourne, which sounds like it's this, magical place.
What?
Sort of like,
I didn't even know there was such thing.
Sort of like Hogwarts, but for, but for radio people. Yeah. And then after that, it was the end of 2015, and I was like this 20-year-old who just went, I'm going to make it. Like, I've just finished my 6-month course that probably shouldn't exist, and it doesn't anymore, actually.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make it. I'm going to be Hamish and Andy. And then I applied for jobs all over the country and found out how tough it is to get into radio, and you need more than your 6-month certificate in radio school.
Okay, so radio school's bunk.
Yeah, exactly right. So then I was having a bit of a sook to my radio lecturer and was like, oh, I can't get a job anywhere. It's them, not me. What's going on? And he was like, mate, it's 2016 now. You can start a podcast. You can start a YouTube channel. There's no excuses. And since then, I fired up the YouTube channel, made some really niche sort of AFL content, and just been doing it ever since. So loving it.
It's funny you say that about radio, because I was just thinking, when you were thinking of going into radio, were you thinking of going in like sport heavy or just like general radio?
Yeah, not sport heavy at all.
Oh, right. So just general personality kind of stuff. Because I say you'd be more of a chance of that. AFL radio is fucking hard.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to be Hamish and Andy. So
right. Still a chance.
Well, geez, it'd be nice. But I think they were dominating by 26. I'm a little bit behind the run rate. But yeah, just that larrikin, that funny. I loved like the drive slot on the Fox, like 4 to 6. Like the thought of being on, like working 4 to 6, talking shit was just so inspirational. And then it's a funny one because I sort of started doing just skits and whatnot on YouTube, but slowly but surely the footy stuff started to take off a little bit more. Yeah. And that's how I found myself in sort of this niche football content. But I love footy. Like I love it as much as I love pop culture and Hamish and Andy, like even more. So it was no surprise that slowly but surely I've worked the footy stuff in.
Now, it's funny you mentioned your love for footy, because one of the first things I wrote down when I was just prepping this podcast was like, I've got to talk about Caden's love for footy, because when I hear you talk about footy, it's like I've likened it to a narration of David Attenborough talking about the Wild.
Yes.
Because it's about the depth, the journey, the love, like the correspondence. I'm just like, there's so much passion. And one of the pieces that I heard was like you talking about going to the footy as a kid. And I assume this is in a period when Melbourne weren't great, but you'd get on the train from Geelong, being a Geelong boy, come down, get off at Jollymont. You started talking about the record guys, the people building in. You'd get in gate 3, general ad, all this sort of stuff. And I like was in a trance. I'm like, what the fuck am I? And it was just amazing. So tell me about this love for footy. Why? Because you're a Geelong boy, but you're a Melbourne fan too. So that needs some clarification.
I'm a Geelong-based Melbourne supporter, which is just asking for some PTSD. Well, here's another yarn, a David Attenborough type yarn. I would love every year when the Melbourne Football Club would come to Geelong, because these are my heroes. So like I see Russell Robinson on before the game and the footy show. I see David Neitz in all the newspapers. I'm cutting their heads out, putting it in my scrapbook, and they're coming to Geelong. So every year I would get excited for my team to come to town. And I would get excited by the fact that David Neitz is going past the APCO that I go past, or he sort of pulling past Caden Cafe where I go and eat my chips and gravy. Like, I would get excited that they're in my town, in the postcode. It would just really excite me until they'd go out on Simmons Stadium and the thrashings was just embarrassing. So it's pretty rough being a Melbourne-based Geelong-based Melbourne supporter. I guess being any supporter down in Geelong just
that isn't
dominate.
Geelong, yeah, right.
Geelong just dominate any team that comes down there. But Melbourne in particular, obviously the 186 points. I sat through the 4 quarters there.
You sat through all.
I didn't leave.
That just makes like winning a flag even sweeter when you've gone through that. Hey?
I had my little Nokia flip top, and at the end of the game, I flip it open and I took a photo of the score, and I said, I'm going to remember this when we win a flag. I've lost the phone, so I don't have that memory anymore.
Sentimental.
But I've just loved footy growing up. My dad came over from Scotland. He was about 6 years old, got to the classroom in the western suburbs of Melbourne, and he's gotten to this primary school and everyone's going, oh, who do you go for? And he's looking around the classroom and there's red and blue streamers and balloons and stuff everywhere. And he goes, oh, I'm picking that team. And the reason there was like streamers and stuff everywhere was because it was 1964 and they had just won the grand final. And so Dad picked, hopped on the bandwagon. Like, what a dog. He's hopped on the bandwagon. Probably flags coming out the wazoo before he got there. And then there wasn't ever since he got there for 57 years, obviously. But so I picked the D's because Dad went for them. Mum went for Geelong. So I probably, in terms of premierships, opted for the wrong team.
Yeah,
but
God.
Just a D's nuffy. Absolutely love footy, and I've now sort of made it my life, which is crazy.
Yeah, crazy. Well, we actually had Jeff White on this podcast, and I reckon he'd probably be a hero of yours because people forget he was a superstar, Australian. I think he was like probably one of the first ruckmen that was like super tall but super agile around the ground.
Yeah, well,
like Dean Cox.
He went pick one.
Yeah, pick one.
Freo, and then we got him. Jeff White, Russell Robinson, David Neitz, Adam Uze, Cameron Bruce, that whole era of player are just my absolute heroes. So I love Jeffy.
That's when I think of Melbourne, I think of those guys as well. 100%. You mentioned because that was like when I started really going to the footy.
Brad Green.
Green, Aaron Davey was coming through, Clint Bizzle. Yeah. Remember him? He came to my school once, Clint Bizzle. I put on a Melbourne polo and was taking us to a footy clinic.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, this bloke's the best looking bloke.
100%.
And the most ripped fella I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And every time he had the footy and it was the most photogenic person I've ever seen.
Yeah, well,
I always remember
a bit of postcards or something post footy, so he definitely had that in his kit bag. And what an era to sort of grow up and support. And they didn't achieve the ultimate. They had a very talented list for a long time there, and then the sort of 12 years preceding all those blokes was an absolute disaster. But hopefully we're out of the woods and happy days.
Absolutely. Now, for those that haven't come across Caden MacDonald before, now as we touched on, I'm going to say you're a famous YouTuber in Australia because I think now you've probably paved the way a little bit in the sense that more people are doing AFL specific content, but I don't think anyone was doing it when you started potentially. But what's interesting to me is, I guess the market for it is massive, and you think there's not heaps of people doing it because you've got over 70,000 subscribers now. You've got a big following on socials in general. So I assume it's been a bit of a hard journey to get there. But what was the light bulb moment where you wanted to start doing it?
So I guess the catalyst was not getting a job in radio. So then I started the YouTube channel, but some of my early parody songs started to take off a little bit. And they were...
I want to go into them too. I didn't know about them until today. I did not know about them until today.
They were heavily inspired by The Footy Show and Lonely Island a little bit, just comedy songs. So
they're quite catchy though.
Yeah, they go.
They're not short of a listen. They're fucking nearing 100K listens on Spotify. Have you heard them, Braden? Yeah. Okay. So maybe I'm the only nuffy that hasn't, right?
So it's quite funny because I literally can't sing and I can't play any instruments, but I'm living my sort of Harry Styles superstar lifestyle vicariously through niche AFL songs. So it was the songs that started to take off early, and I started pumping them out, and slowly but surely I sort of do 1 or 2 a year. I feel like they're actually getting somewhat listenable, but if you go back to the 2016 ones, it's sort of like nails on a chalkboard style.
Right, okay, yeah.
And I guess I didn't really know a lot of AFL content creators before I started making content, but there was definitely people doing AFL content in terms of like Elliot Loney was doing the 9As, and I loved Alex Williamson growing up, who was doing he was doing like Alex's Sweet Dream Team and all these sort of skits with AFL players.
There was also the other guy was Good Footy Energies.
Good Footy Energies.
Yeah. He was early doors, just like 100%. Very spiritually on analysing Facebook. Things. Yeah.
So it was just awesome, and I was heavily inspired by all those boys, and then I was inspired by the UK scene of YouTube, so the KSIs with
Sidemen,
and they were mixing in like FIFA, so I've done a bit of AFL Evo. They've mixed in like diss tracks and music, so I've done a little bit of that, and then they've mixed in crossbar challenges and penalty challenges, and that was something that I incorporated into my content that's also been pretty successful. So I sort of pinched myself that it feels like there's a little bit of a wave coming of like AFL content creators, and I'm so excited to see it sort of like, grow and see where it's at in 5 years. And no doubt, like, people will come and go in the scene, and I'll probably be one of those people, but I'm keen to see in like 5, 6, 7 years that people that might have watched my content are really like pushing the envelope.
Yeah, like you're the inspiration. I actually think it'll be better for you the more people that come in, because it's 100%. Driving more traffic to the space.
Yeah.
Which is probably going to increase, the numbers in general.
I heard a Hamish Blake quote, which I've been quoting the last week, and it's a rising tide lifts all boats.
Oh, there we go. Hey, Caden has
nailed. How good is that?
Do you know what? Dill Buckley tried this on our...
Did he say that one?
Yeah, no, but it absolutely dropped the ball on it. He said instead of ship, he said
lifts all ships.
Yeah, he put the word sink in for one, a rising thing of like tapping a sink or something, and we're like, what are you talking about? And then Braden Googled it, and it was literally kind of what he said, but so far off at the same time, and you just nailed it.
Well, so I love that thought. Like I'm massive on everyone gets a lick of the ice cream. Like even though it's quite a niche sort of area, you see that. Like the Shep mates and Prime Train and the 9 to 5 boys do a little bit of the footy stuff. Like even it's such a niche sort of topic, but everyone's got their different take on it, and I absolutely love that. And there's people on YouTube doing gaming. There's people doing live streams. I'm making shocking songs, so everyone can sort of find their little place, and I absolutely love that.
And the beauty of it, anyone can do it. Like
100%.
Like put it this way: if you're making a rap song with 100,000 views, even though they are very, very smart and well thought out, because like I'm assuming you write the lyrics, right? So, yeah. So and for those that haven't listened to those, I'm just going to give a mention to them, because it's probably like, I don't know, how many have you done now? Or how many are on Spotify?
I don't reckon they're all on Spotify. I've done about 30 though. 30 songs.
Oh my God.
I did a footy album in 2020.
You've done like 3 albums.
I did a footy album in 2020 called
Christ.
My Footy Dreams Never Come True. And it talks about how Melbourne are shocking. And one of the songs was I Don't Want to Play Ones, which is an album for Resi's footballers. There's a song called Back Pocket Plugger, which is like this sort of acoustic sort of rock song about being a Resi's footballer. So don't listen to them because they're shocking.
No, but some of them are actually, so they're remixed on like some famous songs that people would know. Yeah. And you kind of use the hooks as like, you've kept them in, but then you've twisted just AFL language and carnage through it, which is hilarious. But what's fascinating for me, because I don't really watch, I watch obviously sport, but I don't really watch anything other than YouTube. Like that's all I have. Like if I don't pay for Foxtel, I don't do any of that. Yeah. I have Netflix and those things, but literally it's just YouTube. So I'm massive on that content creation. And I've only really gotten into this headspace in like the last 2 years, because I've watched it for so long, and I'm like, I'm spending all this time fucking watching it. I may as well just start making something or doing stuff. But for you, what was sort of the catalyst of like, actually no, what's sort of the creative thinking for you when you're coming up with ideas, because you're doing so many different concepts, even though it's built around the one sport. So is it just things come to your head, or are you actually putting time aside to think about it?
Nah, it's just things come to my head. Right. Like, and I have crazy ideas. So obviously there's, and it depends what sort of category. So there could be crazy ideas to do with a song. Like I'll hear a song and I'll be like, that's an AFL parody. Like for example, a song that I haven't used for an AFL parody, but this is when I was in my parody sort of mindset, was, can you remember that Drake song? Kiki, yeah. For a week, I was just singing BT, do you love me? And I was going to make this whole BT song, and I'm like, no, I cannot.
Oh my God, your brain is slightly backwards.
Yeah, my brain is.
I'm thinking Drake has nailed this song. You're thinking, how can I intertwine Brian Taylor?
I was like, where's Drake's verse about BT. I really don't understand. So that is how my brain works. So when it's to do with songs, anything just inspires me. Every year I do like a sort of wrap up of the season. And they're a lot of fun to make. But then there's like other ideas to do with footy. I don't know. Like sometimes if I'm in my AFL Evolution mindset, which is sort of the FIFA game for AFL.
Which I absolutely love this little sort of subsidiary you've built on that. Because you can watch every game and live it.
So I often hop on this game and I don't want to sort of pot anyone's hard work, but the game's not the greatest game.
When you play FIFA and NBA 2K, it doesn't compare.
It doesn't compare, which is a shame. But I still love it, and I play it relentlessly. So I'll make my own character and be like, can Caden MacDonald save the Blues? And I'll just play like a game and a half with the Blues. I've done full-blown career modes where I'm doing press conferences after the games and like trying to get Collingwood the grand final. And then in my head, I've started like doing like specific player modes. Like I'll be Toby Green and Toby Green only for the game. So I feel like I'm Toby Green for the day running around.
That's what I do in FIFA.
So I just have so many AFL ideas. It's ridiculous. And you don't really want to crack open this mind.
No. Yeah. You know what? There's so much of this because I'm very across this because I've obviously come from the soccer space.
Yeah.
And mate, like Twitch and FIFA,
massive.
It's a different world. Like people, like there's guys with 100,000 viewers like daily just playing with like a career mode with a player.
There's people who are professional esports FIFA players.
Yeah.
I want to be a professional esports AFL Evo player.
Yeah, if there's a market, there's got to be. There needs to be a better game
I might make a comp.
Yeah.
Fire up a creative comp.
Seriously, let's just do it. I don't know if anyone's ever asked you this because I've never really heard you speak about it, but what's the process of like a vlog for you? Like are you doing weekly? What's like the process leading up to the drop and the planning, like everything? Because you do all your own editing, right?
Yeah,
Which to me is crazy because I can't.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
I've tried to edit and geez, it's hard.
Yeah, so
kudos, Braden, by the way, to you.
I've been doing weekly vlogs recently just because I've been up to so much. So I've been obviously doing the potty out of Producy, the Goes Alright potty. So we're getting guests and Dill Buckley's floating around and Goz is floating around. So I've been doing a lot of sort of weekly vlogs to do with that because my weeks are a lot more exciting.
Like day in the life kind of stuff?
Yeah, for sure. But I also do AFL vlogs where I go to AFL games and just vlog my experience.
Right.
And it can get a little bit awkward when I'm like in the stands going, oh, Jack Viney's lining up. And everyone's like, why is this 26-year-old man talking into his camera? But now that they've got a bit of momentum and I just love doing them. It's the easiest thing to do to whip out the camera and just document my day at the footy. And some of the best comments that I get is people saying like, hey mate, I'm in the US. I haven't been to the MCG in years, and seeing the ground from your perspective, seeing you like in at the food aisle and you in it finding your seats, it gives a whole different sort of look at the ground.
Yeah, it's like real life, right?
100%. And that was heavily inspired by the UK. Spencer Owen or Spencer FC would vlog his days at West Ham and going down to like the Etihad and all these sort of stadiums. So I was like, it'd be cool to do that for the AFL. So for those sort of games, I just take my little Canon camera. I just bring it out when a moment happens and sort of react to it in real time. And it's quite funny. We're looking back after a day. Like I'll be like, oh, the D's are flying, and we're up at quarter time. We lose by 50 points or whatever. But so much fun, and it's so cool to sort of look back over the last few years because I've got footage and evidence from 2017 onwards of every D's game I've been to.
Jesus.
So it's weird, like to look back, and it'll be like the end of 2018 and I'm saying we need a full back and we get Stephen May the next year. It like tracks the storyline of like being a D's nuffy. So those vlogs are some of my favourite to do. Yeah,
they're the ones that probably I liken to you with David Attenborough because it's like this in-depth, it's like a journey, isn't it? From start to finish, like the bloody cheetah hunting the prey. It's like you going to the footy to start, getting the meat.
Clayton Oliver's the prey. And
right. That's right. But even through lockdown, I think a lot of your content around the D's went really well too because like no one could go to the games, but you still kind of had a fan experience via you of like what people were like probably at home, which no one was seeing anymore.
Yeah, well, so over lockdown, so I've done this for sort of 3 or 4 years now, but I only do it for D's away games. I used to do it for every Friday neutral game. I live stream my reaction to the footy. So I don't
Do you
live
do that on Twitch or what do you do? That
now on YouTube.
Oh, you can live stream off YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't live stream the game. I get so many people tuning in going, turn your camera around, show the game. And I'm like, I am going to get my channel taken down.
Yeah, you can't do that, can you?
100%. No, you can't. So that was another experience last year where I've got the footage of me watching Max Gawn kick it after the siren, and I'd spat the dummy that game. I'd thrown the towel in. I was sooking it up. We were down by 40 points to Geelong. Once again, Geelong-based Melbourne supporter. I could almost hear the sirens from my house, and I can't get to the game. And I'd full-on spat the dummy, and I was excited by the comeback, but I'd sooked it up.
Yeah.
And then in the end, when Max Gawn marks it, I was like, Jesus Christ, he's gonna do it, but he's had this shaky sort of kicking action directly in front, slots it through the middle, and then I just left the live stream running to go and hug my dad. So it's just me watching. And I'm like, Maxie gone, and then people in the live stream just see me leave. I just walk out the door, hug my dad. I was like, yes, unbelievable. So those live streams are so much fun. That real fan interaction, like you're seeing my 3 hours and 20-minute reaction of the D's game. I would love for those to take off because they're so exciting.
They're I love watching live sport. People, Barstool Sport's great at it, and then
I love Barstool.
Yeah, mate, that's the greatest thing. Yeah, it's the greatest thing of all time.
Yeah.
I just saw a video today of a Nets fan going nuts because KD's asked for a trade, and he's sitting at his desk. He's like, "Why can't we just be fucking normal?" It's just golden, bro.
It is.
I resonate with it so much. But when you go to D's game, are you like famous now in the sense of like, because I don't know. I mean, for AFL, you're quite singular in this space, but then you're demons. There's no one else doing on the scale you are. So I assume you're as famous as Petraka walking into the ground.
I like to tell myself I am. I'm not sure that's the case. So look, it's unbelievable the community that I have built, and it's made going to D's games so much better because it feels like a family now.
Yeah.
So I was going to D's games by myself for a long, long time. Like we were winning 3 games a year. And my mates were sick of me dragging them up 3 trains to get to the MCG just for us to lose by 80 points. So I ended up having to go by myself, and I'd be like this 80-year-old looking man because I'd have the Triple M in my ears, be sitting there with my footy record going, come on, can we win today? But now it's like I can hit people up that are D's fans that I've connected through doing my content and go with them. So
awesome.
it just feels like a real family vibe. It feels like like for me to go to a D's game feels like a local footy club. There's so many familiar faces. And yeah, it's just an amazing experience. So yeah, I love it.
Awesome. What's the most fulfilling aspect about the YouTube stuff for you? Like what is it that, I guess, when you've posted the video, or is it the feedback? Is it the process? Is it the creative? Is it the freedom? What for you do you love like about it most?
It probably is like the community, 100%. Like going through the messages, and it's stuff like, and this might just be like a nothing comment to other people, but it'll be like, unreal, I've just knocked off school, I've got footy training in half, and you've uploaded like a 10-minute video, like elite. And something like that, it puts me straight back to when I was like 15, 16. And Thursday nights is usually when I upload. And that's because when I was at school, when I'd knock off on a Thursday, I felt it was the weekend.
Yeah.
Because Dad would get takeaway on a Thursday, sort of reward us for the week. On the Friday, everything was more chill. I think I had PE on the Friday.
Yeah.
The footy show was on, so I was allowed to stay up later. So it was like the last class on a Thursday, I was like unreal. Like the week's finished.
Yeah.
And yeah, the footy show and stuff like that, and like sort of shows to watch after school was what I was looking forward to before I went to training. So to think that to some people out there that it's like that's what they're looking forward to at the end of a week or at the end of a Thursday, and then them commenting that, yeah, it makes the whole thing so worth it.
Absolutely. Now, when you talk about like the community, I'm assuming obviously the fan base, but the subscribership, which is incredible numbers. But how, for you, what's been like a key factor? Obviously, you've got great content and creative ideas in a niche space.
Yeah.
But what's been some of the key sort of aspects to, growing that community and growing that subscribership?
Just consistency.
Yeah.
So
everyone says that. It's amazing.
Well, especially on YouTube, but I've made like over 700 videos, but some of them are privated and whatnot, and they were so old and they didn't really suit my channel anymore. So I think there's 600 on the channel as we speak. But I knew that like it was going to take 600 videos. Like I was under no illusion that, it wasn't one parody that was going to get me to 100,000 subscribers. It was going to be 30 parodies and 200 vlogs. And so I was aware that it was going to take that process, and I just knuckled down and I was like, well, I've got nothing else to do. I'm not going to uni. I'm barely...
Radio school's not working.
Radio school's gone and done and dusted. That was unbelievable. There's only so many radio schools you can go to.
Yeah.
So I was just sort of accepting of the process, and I knew that my content would look okay in 600 videos as well. Like I was sort of like, say I was at video 30, I was like, well, this looks and sounds shit and the editing sucks, but that's okay because video 31, it looks and sounds a little less shit than video 32. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of like the body of work that I've done, and yeah, it's the consistencies, like and that's something that I was aware of as well. Not every video is a banger, and I was okay with that because once again, I started to think back to Hamish and Andy, like not every talk break was a banger. They had 2 hours every day to fill. So some of their stuff was like just for that day and then it was forgotten about. So I started to sort of think of my videos like that, and slowly you improve the editing, you improve the on-air sort of performance, and now I'm at a place where like I'm sort of happy with most videos that come out, but there's still the odd one that sucks.
I love it. Yeah, but I think one of the big parts, and probably you can speak to this more than anyone, for anyone that's creating content, the biggest part is sometimes just hit and upload and like getting content out. For sure. And because you're probably like, some people try to be I'm a big perfectionist, and in this space I've tried not to be because I think it's reverse engineered a little bit. It's like you kind of just got to run with it, put yourself out there and then get better. Which I feel like I've heard you speak about before. Like that was one of the things for you, was getting stuff out and then gradually improving and growing with the community. Yeah,
well, 100%. Because I knew that that it wasn't going to be like, it was almost, it was just going to it was going to take me 300, 400, 500 videos to get good. And I feel like if you told me, all right, once you do 700 videos, you'll have 70,000 subscribers, I would have signed up for that. Yeah. And some people wouldn't have. Like some people, if you go, you're going to have to put in this body of work to get here, they'd go, no, I'm not going to do that. And that's why TikTok's a bit of an interesting one, because you can almost bypass that effort by hopping on.
Funny, but I'll mention them 9 to 5 Fitness. I spoke to Gabe about this because he blows up on TikTok all the time. And I was just asking him, like, mate, like, what's the magic sauce? Because, like, I said, I don't know about you, but me, man, I'm putting up stuff that flies, and I'm like, how the fuck's that flying? And then I'm putting up stuff that this has to fly, and like no one's viewing it. Yeah. And he goes, but like he spends a lot of time creating a TikTok that doesn't do anything, and then he'll put no effort into one, and it gets like hundreds of thousands of views, and I'm just like, I can't figure it out.
Well, I guess the common denominator there would still be consistency, because I'm someone who I'll upload a TikTok and it goes, it might get 50, 60,000 views, and I go, sweet, I've made it on TikTok. But people like Prime Train and your 9 to 5, they're so good at like, that won't even be their one TikTok for the day. They're doing 2 or 3 a day, and they're all getting those views, and then they're doubling down the next day. So it's consistency. That's all it is, really.
There you go, people. The bottom line. Yeah, right. But they're so active, those guys on there, which is great. Like they're very responsive to like comments and bang the videos up on it. Like just little things like that, which I almost think with this, like, and I've had this view, and this is probably one reason why I haven't fully gone into it yet, because I don't want to disrespect the industry. I feel like you have to go all in, like in a sense. Like it's very hard to balance, like for some people, 9 to 5s or even careers in other fields, unless you have a chunk of time you can allot to doing this. And because it's a lot of effort is what I'm trying to say. Like it's not as quick and easy as people think.
Yeah, well, I would say that me filming and editing is like 10% of my week, if that.
Yeah, oh, really?
Yeah. Like So, but then again, to sort of counter that argument, I would say one of the best things to do is to keep it as a hobby as long as you can, because then it's just a free hit. It's like, I'm working my 9 to 5 at Rebel Sport, but tonight when I get home, I'm going to do some live streaming, or tonight when I get home, I'm going to whip up a video.
So it stays fun in a sense.
It's fun. It's the thing you're excited to do after work. And then when that starts to take off, it's like, oh, cool. Like maybe I could make this into something, but keeping it sort of fun and as a hobby is something that I'd sort of recommend to a lot of people as well.
Okay. One of the latest kind of trends you've done, which I love, because you've you kind of combine the elite, the professional environments back to the community footies. You've been doing some trips around the country around Vic country, I should say, to watch some of the former footy stars play. And it's like you're instantly in the community. You're drinking cans with your team after the game. You've got them on interviews. And I'm like, mate, that looks like it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that has been amazing. That's all been set up through Carlton Draft. So
has it really?
Yeah, Carlton Draft.
Shout out Carlton Draft. Love them.
Get around them.
Yeah, great beer.
They've been, so they contacted us and said, so they've got the Carlton Draft, which is like former AFL players have been sent out to communities that were sort of decimated by COVID, and the footy club didn't run for a couple of years, and they're putting on this big day for them where the AFL player comes down and sort of he plays a game for them, but also sticks around for a function and whatnot. Okay. So they sent us to those games.
That's amazing.
We got one more to go.
Who have you seen so far? Who can you reel the names off?
We went and saw Eddie Betts, which was like 3 hours away, which was sick.
Yeah.
And then Dale Thomas was in Nil, which is like not that far away from the Adelaide border.
Okay.
Went up and we stayed the night in Horsham that night, and that was just one of the all-time great nights.
Hidden gem.
The Horsham Royal was
shout out.
was unbelievable. And then we went down to Terralgan to watch Jared Ruffhead.
That's right.
So we got Nathan Jones to go, and it's just been so much fun. Like, I love going to the local footy. Like when I was growing up, I would always go and watch Torquay Tigers play, and they were sort of my heroes as well. It was like, these are just knockabout local footy players, but they're full forward of the Torquay Tigers. I absolutely love these blokes. So to have the opportunity to go to local footy, sink a couple, and also watch AFL players, and then get to like chat to them as well.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I love that part. It's like the one-on-one interviews. And that's brings it all together, doesn't it?
Oh, Daisy Thomas was full of energy. The team that he played for hadn't won a game in 3 years.
That's ridiculous.
He came up and they won by 2 points, and it was just absurd.
I saw the dressing room actually. It was like they won a grand final.
It was, yeah. Everyone was going nuts. We probably should have stayed at Nil. We went an hour back to Horsham, but that was still a pretty good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, just a quick pause in the episode, which I hope you're enjoying with Caden, to give a thanks to our sponsors, Manscaped. Now, if you guys haven't heard of Manscaped, then I'm assuming you have some bush downstairs that needs some grooming. So the Lawnmower 4.0 is now out, and it is an absolutely brilliant product. I use it myself. These products are so good that they help you get pride in your new bush-free yard, so that you have the best kept nutsack on the cul-de-sac. All the sayings are here today. Now, it's also one of the most hygienic products and versions going around, and Manscaped have a great broad range of products across the grooming space for both male and female. So I do implore you to get on the website, check out some of their products, use the discount code UNLACED for 20% off plus free worldwide shipping. That's 20% off and free worldwide shipping using the discount code UNLACED. And there's some great products, and the Lawnmower 4.0 is now hitting stores. So let's get back into the episode, and can't wait to share more with you. What's the favourite specific kind of content that you're shooting that you actually love the most?
It's the goal kicking challenges.
The goal kicking. You're actually not a bad kick yourself.
Yeah, don't watch the last couple.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you have your days.
Yeah.
I've seen some.
I've sort of forgotten. Like, it feels foreign to kick a footy at the moment. I don't know why. And like the lead in, I feel like it all looks right, but the ball drop, I've lost it. I've lost the plot a little bit.
Oh no.
But that's okay. I need to put a bit of work in. I might get on to the kicking consultant or something.
Yeah, he's a jet, that bloke.
Yeah, maybe prime train, maybe a program or something.
Yeah.
But
I think Gabe needs one.
Well, he beat me. We had a goal kicking challenge.
Must hurt.
and not just beat, he dominated. He dominated,
wow.
put a lot of goals on the board, and I just couldn't buy a snag. So, my favourite content is the goal kicking challenges. It's usually with a bunch of mates as well, and it's just so much fun. So we all get down there, we all take the piss. There's pressure. It doesn't seem like you see on camera, it's directly in front, 20 metres out, but there's pressure behind the camera. There's pressure that the camera's on.
Yeah, there's future pressure too coming with all the views that you can come to. So
there's almost the MCG watching if you sort of crunch the numbers.
Absolutely, actually more sometimes. I mean, North Melbourne not getting those views.
So there is a lot of pressure. That's the excuse that I have.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But yeah, so much fun. So much fun to edit because I love going back and watching and creating little edits out of the boys missing or myself missing and whatnot. And then they get bang for buck on YouTube as well. So I know that they're going to be seen by people. So I'm
there's value.
excited to get them done. So
absolutely. So from a YouTube perspective, who are the YouTubers that you love, that you watch a lot of? Because you mentioned a few names, but I'm just interested to see.
Well, growing up, it was Joe Weller. Do you know Joe Weller?
I do. Yeah, I think he was the first one that had a fight with KSI.
It was, yeah. He was hilarious. He had like the internet melts and all these sort of funny sort of series. KSI, I've always gotten around.
Emil Heskey. I love him.
Yeah, so good. Those FIFA series. I was massive into the Australian scene, like Elliot Loney, Josh Wade, Alex Williamson, Frenchie.
Yeah.
Love all those boys growing up. Definitely big sort of inspirations in the Australian scene. And now I've been getting around a little bit of, I got into David Dobrik before he got cancelled and now doesn't upload.
Yeah.
And then a little bit of Logan Paul. I like Logan Paul's podcast.
I really love it, man. I'm a big Logan Paul fan.
Yeah.
Even just for like, I think he's so smart. So like what he's doing, I always look at with like more depth than like, oh, he's just rich and young and making moves. Like, I think he's really calculated. Yeah. Like he just signed for the WWE today.
Crazy.
And I'm just thinking, like, what the fuck? I'm like, what a genius move. That's probably going to be his biggest moneymaker. They're huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm massive on him. And then through that, I watch like heaps of Mike Malak and all those guys.
His vlogs are very good.
Yeah, he's just good. Like he's just you can tell he's a natural. But yeah, I'm big on the UK YouTube scene.
Yeah.
And obviously the people who watch that would probably know Sidemen.
Yeah.
And yeah, Sidemen, I feel like there's a little brewing Sidemen here with a couple of the content creators.
There is.
Around the AFL. You guys have joined up, Prime Train yourself,
we have.
Mates, 9 to 5 Fitness, who've been on this podcast before. So where did that start?
So I had done a footy golf challenge with Prime over the summer, and the minute he rocked up, I'm like, this guy's a rock star. Yeah. Like he's
bigger than some AFL players in like stature and obviously people.
Do
you know what I mean?
He looks like an Adonis. He's got the flowing mullet. Yes. He's a beautiful man.
Yeah, he's photogenic.
So I did some content with him and I absolutely loved it. And I'd sort of seen the 9 to 5 boys over the summer, and then I'd seen the Shepmates a little bit over the summer as well. And from there, Prime's done content with 9 to 5 and whatnot. So I had them on my podcast, and Prime was coming down for a bit of a kick. So we decided to do that goal kicking challenge where I couldn't kick the side of a barn. Right. I couldn't hit the side of a barn.
Is that one of your most viewed podcasts? YouTube?
It will be. Like the run rate at the moment is very, very high. So it should continue to tick over. We went down to Westpac Centre, down where the Pies train, and just had a day where we filmed the TikTok skit with the Shepmates.
Yeah, that was gold. The umpire.
The umpire.
was golden.
That's gone crazy on TikTok. Like the views that is mental. And then my YouTube video has like exceeded a lot of views, and like the views that I thought it would get. The thought straight away was like, the chemistry's there. We love it. Like, should we make a group? And we're gonna.
So is there more strategy and like thought and planning to it than just those 1 or 2 videos that we've seen?
So now we're sort of knuckling down and trying to create like the page and create everything and fire it all up.
So it's legitimate, like Sidemen kind of vibe. Will it be, is it going to be more than just footy, or is it going to be
I think so, yeah.
Because I feel like you guys are at a point now where you've got the fan base that you could probably branch into other things and still get viewers, because we got people that are attached to the personalities, not just the footy aspect, I guess.
Yeah, and we got like a lot of ideas as well, and so we are going to make a fist of it. We're going to give it a crack.
Fuck yeah. That's awesome.
And it really excites me. And the days that we have shot content before really excited me, because for a couple of years there during COVID, I was literally sitting at home trying to make footy content, but football isn't in this state and no one can leave your house, and like you can't do goal kicking challenges and I can't collab with my mates. And I was just doing it by myself for a long, long time. And it was killing me. I was going, oh, this absolutely sucks.
Yeah.
So the thought of going up with like-minded people and creating content and sort of bringing everyone's own ideas but also audiences together really, really excites me. And it's some of the funnest days I've had in YouTube doing stuff with those boys. So
yeah, absolutely. So did you know all them personally, or you just kind of connected because you're all in content creators?
Just connected.
That's just what happens with this world.
Yeah. Which is awesome. So much fun. And it was Prime that I probably saw before the other boys. So I connected with him pretty early, and then saw that he had done stuff with the other boys as well. And
Right.
Once again, with the rising tide lifts all ships and whatnot.
There we go. He's nailed it twice now.
It definitely does feel like that.
Yeah.
So it just gets me excited knowing that there's other people in the space doing stuff and everyone's doing something different. And like the talent that the Shepmate boys and the 9 to 5 boys and Prime has, it's crazy. So.
I had a conversation with Tommy Sheridan about Shepmates because we all do some work with Dabble. Yeah. So anyway, I said to Tommy, I'm like, fuck, mate, we've got it all wrong. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, mate, we're fucking talking. We're trying to hunt down guests. We're talking to people for hours on end. Braden's editing his life away to put out content. These bastards are just doing commentary without even speaking and blowing up.
Is that?
They're not even using their voice. They're just got expressions for like 15 seconds and they're fucking skyrocketed.
Yeah.
I'm like, the world's backwards, mate. But they're geniuses.
They are. And what's so exciting for them is that they're funnier. Their expressions and whatnot when they do the commentary is hilarious, and that's why it's so successful. But they are so funny, when
they talk.
When they talk. So
Really?
when I'm around them, I'm like, geez, when people see this side of you as well, you guys will blow up more than what you've already blown up. Like they've got gears to go to, and it's exciting.
Right, because that's what I was going to ask. I'm like, what? Like, not what's next specifically, but like, is there a next step that they can take? But by the sound of it, there's many.
The world's their oyster, to be honest.
Yeah, really.
And that's something that I'm keen to just watch their development and watch what they get up to because I think they could do whatever they wanted.
Absolutely. I made a pitch actually to 9 to 5. I'm putting myself out there to come on one of the goal kicking challenges, and then he said, "Yeah, well, when we do a soccer challenge, which you guys won't, I'll be in." So I'm on the fringes.
That'd be good.
I'm on the fringes of a performance.
I love the penalty, not the penalty, the crossbar challenges and whatnot.
That's grouse one. Yeah.
I think there might be a crossbar challenge on my channel in deep, like 2017 days.
Oh, that's amazing.
So
you're a big football fan or soccer fan, I should say, or you just kind of like FIFA and you
very inspired by the YouTube, the YouTube scene, but I like EPL and that's about it, but I'm not deep into it.
Okay. You've got too much time on Melbourne, mate. That's
I know.
Right. You don't have enough time.
Well, I don't love anyone as much as I love the Ds. Like some of my mates love Manchester United or love Chelsea or they love Miami Heat or LA Lakers or whatnot as much as they love like Essendon. But I'm just Melbourne, which is a bit of a shame. I'd love to sink my teeth into other sports, but no.
Yeah, no, I think you're doing a good enough job. But I do want to talk a bit of footy with you, and before I go into the now, because the now's looking pretty good.
The now's great.
Yes. Yeah, the now is great, which annoys me because St Kilda's sliding as we speak. But I want to go back to last year because the D's fairy tale that was the life of Caden MacDonald, I feel, changed a little bit because you finally saw a flag and over the moon, and not just like one, like it was convincing from day dot to the end. But just talk me through your life that grand final week. It was a bit of a weird one, obviously in Perth and so forth.
Yeah, well, so I used to go to the footy with Dad all the time, but he doesn't really go to the footy much anymore. It sort of overwhelms him and getting up and 3 trains and whatnot. So he just chills at home and watches the footy. And I've been aware that he hasn't gone to a game for ages. So when there was news that we were going to go into another lockdown and it probably was going to get moved and the D's were top of the ladder, straight away I flipped the script. Like normally I would be very upset and be like, oh no, I'm going to miss potentially a drought breaking flag. But straight away I was like, well, this is probably the only opportunity I would have to see it with Dad, because if it was in Melbourne, I'd be there and he'd be at home. So straight away I was like, that's great. I get to see it with Dad. And so, it was torturous build up because we had 2 weeks before we played Geelong in a prelim.
Oh, that's right.
And then we had
2 weeks.
2 weeks till we played the grand final. And I'm just sitting in lockdown and the days are the same. And I'm playing FIFA till 4 a.m. and just drinking every night because we're in lockdown. And I'm having the worst time, but I'm counting down the day. And then game day took an eternity because it was at 7 p.m. So it just felt like we had waited so long. The start was amazing.
It's a great, like the first 2 quarters was a great game, like for the neutral.
Yeah, well, and we'd started all our finals, even in 2018 when we had a taste of finals. each sort of first quarter we put on 5, the other team puts on 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And it was that sort of start where we put on 5 or 6, kept them to 1 or 2. And I thought they might get back in it. But what the Dogs did in that second term blew me away. They got in front by like 12 points or whatever at half time.
Kicked like 3. It was like, just what's going on?
And the Bont as well was getting involved. And half time I felt okay. We were down by about, I think it was 2 goals. But then Johannesson takes a hanger, kicks one. And then sort of, it was really tough for like 8-9 minutes. And then Bont snaps one and they're up by like 20. And I just went, I can't believe this. Like, we've waited so long. It's been the big build-up. This is 5th on the ladder. I know the Dogs probably were the best team throughout the year before they dropped off towards the end. But I was sort of looking going, this is 5th. This isn't even like,
Yeah, correct.
And then Petrarca, his second half was crazy.
Ate it, didn't he?
That third quarter run was ridiculous. And, I couldn't. And it was hard to digest. Like, I'm still finding it hard to come to terms with what they did and what they have done.
And how young some of them are as well. Like, it's scary.
Like Jake Bowie, 18, Cozzy, 19, Luke Jackson, 19, Trent Rivers, 19. And then it's like Sparrow and Jordan are like 20.
Yeah, it's fucked.
It's ridiculous. And even like now, I am genuinely still struggling to digest it. Like, I'll turn on the footy coverage and they'll be like, oh, Brisbane had a great effort against reigning premiers Melbourne. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That doesn't even make sense. Like, I swear we finish last every year. What are you talking about?
Or it's even probably for you as well weird that like when people talk about other teams, like, they need to improve this if they want to be anything like Melbourne.
And you're like,
well, hold on a fucking second. Melbourne for 10 years was dust. Now they're the benchmark.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, genuinely.
Yeah, it's all the comparisons to Melbourne. Like,
yeah. And like, this is the best defence since we've seen since Melbourne. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, correct.
And then it was just this weird thing where we win the grand final. I have all this energy. I'm all built up and it's 11:30. The coverage stops and it's like,
what do you do?
I can't leave my house. Like, I literally can't leave my house. And I was like a boiling pot on the stove. I was like ready to like explode and like, yes, come on. So I went on YouTube, fired up a live stream, just sunk cans to like 4
I was going to say, is that what you did?
Yeah, with the subscribers.
Yeah, that would have felt like something. At least you're talking to someone.
It did. Nah, that was a lot of fun. And then, you wake up the next day and like, there's no parade. There's no family day. It's like, oh, cool. I guess they won. Like, it was just so weird.
You'd still take it though, wouldn't you? Though, like,
I will take that. Yeah, I'll take that to the bank.
Yeah, absolutely, no qualms. Like, if we go into this season, I mean, you kind of picked up where you left off. You had a couple down weeks, but how are you feeling about it so far? Are you happy with it, with how the D's are looking?
I was, but those 3 games just bring you back down to earth.
Yeah, violently quick. Hey,
it's crazy, and I've seen a lot of the supporters can get really confident and. I don't know where they were when we were losing 20 games a season.
Forget real quick.
They have forgotten very quickly. So I've always like, we'll go to games and I'm like, oh, geez, I hope we win, I started to develop like a little bit of confidence where I was like, I think we're going to win.
Yeah.
But those 3 games definitely brought me back down to earth. And then I started to go the other way. I'm like, oh, we got Brisbane and then Geelong and we're going to lose 5 in a row. Then we're going to be out of the, I start going the other way because I've had PTSD for 20 years of being a Melbourne supporter.
Like a St Kilda and Melbourne fan would.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm quite comfortable with where they're at. I think they're going to build into the season as well. I don't think we've nearly seen their best. And I like the small forward line. I like the mosquito fleet of like Bedford and Spargo and Cozzy and Neil Bullen rather than going too tall with like, I don't know, Tommy Mack and Ben Brown and Weed and Luke Jackson and everyone like that. So, pretty happy with where they're at the moment, but we got to build again. So like, I know Adelaide seems like it should be a sort of easy win, but we got to bank it. We got to start building again. So
I feel like, I feel like those down moments are important. Like
they are.
You need to have that just to remember where you are. So then it's like you can click back. That's what scares me actually. That's happened to you at this point because now it's like, fuck, now they know.
Yeah.
That they're too good once they are on that you can't, like St Kilda, we played like a really good three quarters, even a half of football against you guys, and still like fucking miles off. Like really, if I'm honest with myself. So it just shows you need like 4 quarters against you when you're on, and even then, good luck.
Yeah. And like the games we did drop, we had in-game injuries that were pretty hard to cover. So May got concussed against Freo, and Sammy Wiedemann's on Rory Lobb for like the last 3 quarters. And in the Sydney game, I think May was out, but Petty went down with like 7 injuries in the one game.
Yeah.
And so those games, like, we were sort of close. Like during those games, we're 20 points up at some stages. So we're doing something right in those games as well.
Yeah.
And then we just couldn't cover for a couple of things that went wrong. So yeah, I'm confident, but I still am aware that like great teams don't always win it. So I've watched, being a Geelong-based Melbourne supporter, but I watched Geelong in 08.
Yeah.
I watched them in 08 not achieve the ultimate after being the best team.
True.
I've seen maybe the Pies in 11 or the Tigers in 2018 as well. So I'm aware that like it's pretty hard to go back to back, and not always the best team gets rewarded with it. So I'm just sort of riding it out for the rest of the season. But geez, it feels good to sort of, hopefully it's sort of back-to-back years, top 4, and hopefully it's a team that's building a sustainable success. And that's all I ever wanted, was like a team that's consistently thereabouts. And as much as I want to, win 7 grand finals in a row, I'm just happy at this point that I can sort of go, be proud of the footy club I'm watching, and they're sort of in most games. So I'm pretty happy and content as a supporter at the moment.
Absolutely. Well, I feel like even if you guys miss, you guys still going to be there the next year. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're too good to have like a hangover year where you really suck, because you've just got too many good players.
Yeah.
And it's just awesome when it's like that. Who are you fearing the most? Like who do you think's like, I guess, the real competition for you guys come finals?
Well, so there's a couple of options where like there's teams we don't match up well against. So like,
give me the Caden MacDonald like brain, the mindset of how you think about this.
So we
stuff.
never play Sydney well at all.
Okay.
And I know that it's weird. Sydney will beat Geelong and then Melbourne, and then they'll have a couple of Saturday 4:40 games, and I'll be off at Neil watching Dale Thomas. And then a couple of weeks later, I'm like, gee, Sydney are the team to beat, but they've lost against Gold Coast and a couple of non-sort of contending sides. So I'm aware that Sydney aren't consistent, but they're a team that if we beat them, we win by 10 points. If they beat us, they win by 10 points. We never match up well against them. So they scare me. If we say we lost like a qualifier and had to play Sydney week 2, I'd be so scared. The other team, just from the years of bullying, would be Geelong. I think when you look at that forward line, it's just crazy. So when that starts going, it'd be pretty hard to stop. And then I guess the third one's probably the Tigers.
Yeah. Geez, the Geelong Tigers game, which mate, that scared. That was like finals. That was like a prelim or something.
Yeah.
And that I thought fuck, when Geelong won that, because St Kilda beat Geelong a few weeks ago, and I thought, there's like Geelong can slip. They
can, yeah.
But then the way they played against Richmond and come back when like probably Richmond could have put the game to bed.
Yep.
Fuck, they're scary.
They are, I know. And then like Jeremy Cameron is terrifying when he's at full flight, and he is at full flight. Tom Hawkins is just like, he was the laughing stock for a long, long time, and now he's one of the best sort of key forwards ever.
Yeah.
So
how old is he now?
Like 33, 34.
Fuck, he still moves and looks good.
He could play another 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. I think Nathan Buckley said like the last 4 or 5 years he's been the best key forward in the game.
Yeah.
And like that's like his back end of his career.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like probably when you think maybe he might slow down, or maybe like he still moves around the ground well.
Yeah.
So strong one-on-one.
Yeah.
Fuck, he bothers me.
Yeah, no, it bothers me as well. And then their backline's pretty set. Like they've got a few sort of names in their backline that you wouldn't think. Like, Henry, Kolajasny, DeConing.
I love
but then
that
Tom
DeConing.
Stewart's roaming around just licking the pill.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, I know. He's getting so much footy, but they're going to hurt without him now.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Who from the, actually, do you have a good relationship with any of the Demons players now? Like, I feel like, has that opened up that door? Like, the boys must get around you a bit, or?
Nah, because they look at me and they go, who is this hairy 26-year-old man in a full kit,
absolutely
drooling from the mouth as they walk past me in the street? No, yeah, there's been a few of the D's lads. So I've done content with a few of the D's boys, and there's been a couple that that I've been able to keep in touch with. So I'm just going to name drop and flex here.
Please do, because I want to ask about if there's been any cool interactions as well following that.
So Jack Viney's the nicest bloke I've ever met in my life.
Really?
And
he scares me.
He off field, he's so nice.
No, on field, like he's fucking fierce as fuck. Yeah,
What he did against Brisbane was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That was a captain's like performance, and I know that Gorney was out and he is the vice captain, so that was like one of the best sort of leadership type performance I've seen. But so like I've done some content with Jack, and so he follows me on Insta, and even like the other week when I was sick, and I put up this thing, I was like, I can't stream or go to the game, I'm sick. And then the next day, he'd played a blinder, 34 touches, best on ground. And because I am a nuffy, I just message him. So
I love it. Straight to the point.
I was like, well done, Skip. Played unreal last night. And then he just replies, thanks, Caden. Hope you're feeling better, mate.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I know
You'd take so much away from that, wouldn't you?
100%.
Yeah.
And I know, like, other people tuning in are like, what is this loser doing? What a loser. And I am a loser, but I love that stuff. And I think he knows, like, I've been a member for 21 years, and little interactions like that make my absolute life. So it's crazy. I can't kick the fact that they're Melbourne footy players out of my brain. Like I'll do content with them and they're just the nicest blokes ever. But to me, it's like he's wearing the jumper of Russell Robinson and he's wearing the jumper of David Neitz. And these are like heroes. So, but most of the D's boys that I have met are just unbelievable.
Is there anyone in the D's squad that would make you nervous? Like starstruck, kind of? I mean, by the sound of it, all 22. But
yeah, well, geez. Jake Bowie would make me nervous.
Really? That was the last person I thought he was going to reel off. You really are a duffy.
I think track's so cool.
Oh, mate.
That like I don't think I could crack a gag or relate to him in any way where he would go, oh, you're all right. I think he's just so cool.
Yeah.
Where
he's beyond you. He's
way beyond. He's out of my league.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
To a point where I would be nervous being in his presence because I'm like, I don't have many levers to pull here to relate to you. You're just a superstar. So I think track would be probably the most intimidating.
Is can we actually, because it's relatively new, the Clayton Oliver deal? How, 8 years in any form of sport is fucking huge. I don't think any deal has been that big in the AFL in regards to timeline. And definitely in soccer world, it doesn't happen. NBA, it doesn't
I reckon there's
happen.
one famous one. Alistair Lynch went to the Brisbane Bears, and I reckon that was like 10 years.
Oh, really?
I reckon Buddy's was like 9.
Buddy's actually, Buddy probably separate. You're right. I think, you're right.
It is it's a long amount of time, but so no offense to these people as well, but I grew up when I was 15, 16 going to the MCG, and I was watching Geordie Gisberts, Viv Mitchie, Michael Evans, like these sort of players who were my heroes, but I'm watching Geelong fans go to games and they're watching Gary Ablett Jr., Jimmy Bartel, Tom Hawkins, Joel Selwood, and I was going, that's crazy that your club's been around for 150 years and you're watching the best ever Geelong players right now. And I was so envious and jealous while I was watching. And these were my favourite players, like your Ricky Peddards, your Viv Mitchies, all these blokes I loved, but they weren't the best Demon players ever. Yeah. And now I get to go on weekends and watch Clayton Oliver, like Christian Petrarca,
kind of people,
Max Gawn, who are three of the best Melbourne football club players ever, and I'm starting to slowly taste and experience what Geelong supporters have experienced. Richmond supporters like Trent Cotchin, Jack Rewald, Alex Rance, Dusty Martin. So it's genuinely a privilege to watch Clayton Oliver go at it, and to be able to do it for 8 more years is something that I don't think I'll take for granted.
Yeah, man, it's such a really good analogy you just did then, because when I think about it, I'm like, the only probably player that I've had that with St Kilda has been Robert Harvey. Yeah. Where I'm like, every time I saw him play, I felt like I'm so privileged to
Nick
be here.
Rewald as well.
Nick Rewald
one of the best singers.
Yeah, Nick Rewald too. I think I'm just like, it hurts me that Nick Rewald never won one.
I know.
It still bothers me.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nick Rewald too, Lenny Hayes, and then Rob Harvey. Those kind of 3 guys. I mean, Brendan Goddard for some reason was always my favourite player.
Yeah.
I think because around the time I was a Saints nuff, he got pick one and all that sort of stuff. But it's almost like he was a superhuman person. Now, every time I see Jack Sinclair run around with 35, I'm thinking, fuck, now he's doing well. Yeah. But I was like, for a while, I'm like, oh, no, that number needs to be put to bed and just rest it up there for us all to look at. Yeah. But it's the same for you probably with these guys.
Yeah, 100%. And, and it's like we've had draftees come in and not turn into the best Melbourne Football Club players ever. So I was getting sort of impatient with some of the draft picks coming in. And when Clayton Oliver and Petrarca came in, they did take a little bit of time. Clayton Oliver was, racking up 30 from his debut, but was sort of in and out for a little bit, went back to the VFL, and Christian obviously did his ACL early days. And Max Gawn's story of 5 or 6 years playing VFL. But now I'm getting to watch some of the best Melbourne players ever, and that's crazy. Yeah, it's funny. One of my
good friends, Tommy Bugg, former guest on the show. Everyone, I'm sure some would have heard his episodes because they've been fantastic. But he, I asked him about like the D's because I was like, one of the things when he came out was, or came out of the game was like, whoa, the timing of it, because obviously his age, but it's like, geez, you're on the brink. You've got a pretty good team coming up, and like, did you call the right time, even though he went to Carlton and so forth? And I was like, could you see it coming? Like, out of curiosity, like, did you see and he goes, yeah, like he knew.
Yeah.
Even back then, I don't know where you guys would have been placed when he was last there, but probably would have been like 2017.
Yeah, we would have 9th.
Yeah, like
and
around
we
then.
Probably should have made it that year.
Yeah, he said there's like so many superstars in that team.
Yeah.
And this is before you obviously brought in some of the players you had as well from other teams.
Yeah, true.
So it's just, I was like, fuck, that's interesting. When he told me that, I'm like, what was it you saw, bro? Tell me, who was it? But yeah, he shared a lot of sentiment, and then he was really big on Goody as well.
Yeah.
He said he was a really good coach for that group specifically.
Yeah, well, once again, like I've seen a lot of coaches sort of come and go. Yeah. And it felt different with Goody. Like what Roosie did was just sort of immeasurable to.
Yeah.
He was sort of this protection between our bad years to give us 3 years to get somewhat good again. Because if that had been a new coach, I think we finished second last and whatever. But because it was Paul Roos and we pinched a couple games, it bought the club time to get good.
Yeah.
And when Goody came in, he got us to almost finals, but we missed out by 0.5%, finished 9th. Never happened before. And then I think the following year in 2018, we made a prelim and beaten Geelong and Hawthorn in the finals before we went over and got flogged by West Coast. But even like Geelong and Hawthorn in consecutive finals, these are teams that are always in the 8 and always competing. And I think Hawthorn finished top 4 that year. So we knocked off like a top 4 Hawthorn team 2 or 3 years after their premiership.
So there was hope brewing.
So I was going, geez, we're going to be okay. We finished second last the following year, but in 2019, it fell off the cliff. But everyone was coming for Goody, and it would have been a Melbourne Football Club thing to do to sack him.
Mm.
And it would have been really easy. Like we finished second last, and then in 2020, we were sort of iffy. We finished 9th again, I reckon. But I was like, if we don't sack him, it feels like we're in this new era. And that was what happened. Like they didn't sack him, and now he is the Damien Hardwick story. Like Damien Hardwick nearly got sacked. Mark Bomber Thompson nearly got sacked and then won a flag. He now becomes one of those stories of like, this guy was so close to getting the chop. They stuck with him, and now our team will be set up for success for the next like 4 or 5 years because they didn't sack him, when it would have been, as I said, a Melbourne thing to do. Get rid of him, start again. Petrarca and Oliver go, what's going on at this place? Not again. They jump ship, and the whole cycle starts again. So by not letting go of Simon Goodwin, it just felt like this new era and this new Melbourne had begun.
Absolutely. Do you reckon players influence that a little bit? Like the players you mentioned, for example, surely they would be like, don't fucking sack him. Like, we love him.
Well, by all reports, and I am so far on the outer, it's not funny. Like I hear my goss from Jared Whaley. Like I have no
which I find hard to believe, by the way. I reckon the way you just spoke then, he should be on the bloody board.
I know, get me on. Jack Viney only wishes me well. He doesn't sort of give me the
the rundown.
The politics.
He's a 22 this week, big fella. Let it loose.
Inside the 4 walls. I consume every bit of Melbourne media, like from press conferences to the Gus and Gordy podcast to any interview they're on. And from gathering, it sounds like everyone loves him. Like, it sort of sounds like Jack Viney stayed because he was potentially leaving a couple of years ago. It sounds like the influence of Goody is the reason like all these boys are on board, and I love that he coaches from the boundary line.
Yeah.
I just love everything about him. And he's so measured as well. He never gets upset, never gets angry. And that was a criticism. Like, your team's battling and you're not showing any emotions. And he goes, well, it's really not my job to show emotions. It's my job to pull levers to get us out of here. And yeah, I'm so happy for him that he got to achieve the ultimate. And he went from like almost being a coach to coach for a couple of years and getting sacked and never seen again. And now I look at him and I'm like, I was thinking not that long ago, I was like, oh, Simon Goodwin's now of that Ross Lyon mould. And then I went, no, well, Simon, he's won one. So, and then I was like, oh, well, he's that Nathan Buckley mould because I have Nathan Buckley as like one of the best coaches, you know. I'm like, no, but he's won one. And then I'm going, oh, well, now he's like in the Chris Scott mould. Like, it's crazy that sort of 1 year he's going to get sacked and never seen again. And now he's like a premiership coach who can coach for life if he wants to. It's just
correct. I think that's why we love sport, because it's like it can change. Don't get me wrong, it can change for the worse very quickly, but it can change for the good too.
Yeah.
So it's like when you see people triumph like that when they're almost down and out, it's kind of why you love it.
Yeah, the rally,
like the feel good story.
Comeback.
Yeah, the comeback. And Melbourne's was probably prolonged for about 15 years because you guys were rubbish. But that again makes it sweeter in
for
the
sure.
end. I want to put you on the spot though, because
Yep.
I know who you're going to say is going to win the flag, because you can't not say Melbourne. But top four, who, if we're at the halfway point roughly, but who you go on your top four? Because you're big on your predictions.
Yeah, I hope that the D's finish on top. If they don't, I'm not worried. Like, I feel if we make the top four, like the Tigers won it from third and Hawks won it from third a couple of years. So I won't be too stressed if they don't finish on top, but I hope we do. I hope we can have like 2 good years where we finish on top. So I'm going to go D's, Cats. Jeez, what are the Lions doing?
Yeah. The Lions for me, they probably couldn't. I just think in finals they just bust.
I'm going to say the Lions. I'm going to say D's, Cats, Lions. Imagine if it was D's, Tigers qualifying. I'll say Freo.
Freo? Yeah.
D's, Cats, Lions, Freo.
Okay, there you go. From the man himself.
Blues just short. I'm hoping for a Tigers Blues elimination final, MCG on the Sunday, 90,000.
That would be beautiful, wouldn't it?
Hook that into my veins.
Absolutely. Do you have the Saints in the 8, out of curiosity? You know who I still can't read, and I have a lot of friends there, but Collingwood, I just can't, like, they keep winning.
I reckon they could fade out.
I'm like, are they going to slide yet?
Yeah, I reckon they could fade out.
Period,
and they've got a tough end of the season. They've got Carlton and Melbourne in the last couple of rounds.
Okay.
I reckon they'll just miss out. But,
yeah, well, I feel like it's St Kilda or Collingwood that would miss out.
But then it's like Gold Coast, Port, all those teams. I think Richmond are currently outside of the 8.
Yeah. I think so. It's moving. It is a moving fucking top or bottom.
If you look in 3-week patches, it's like it all changes.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, Saints were top 4 for like the first 8 weeks. And I was like, here we go.
What made me laugh is early days this season, Melbourne have won 17 in a row. And on my Twitter, which if you just want to ruin your mental health, log onto that app. But on my Twitter, people are saying, who have the D's beaten? And I went, well, we're reigning premiers. So we had, and we've won 17 in a row over 2 seasons. So we've beaten someone somewhere in that run.
Yeah.
But who have they beaten? And then it was like this big game against the Saints. And it's like, oh, here's their first challenge of the top 4 team. We won by about 6 goals.
Absolutely.
And now sort of a few weeks later, it's like that game that was the big proving point for the D's. It's like the Saints aren't in the top 8 anymore.
Yeah, it's like forgotten.
And like we've beaten Richmond and Bulldogs, who are now sort of in the 8 as well. But like earlier in the season they weren't, so they didn't count as beating top 8 teams. But now so it's such a weird backwards year.
Yeah, but it makes it exciting though. I kind of like it because I think when was it? There was a couple of years ago. Someone was just blitzing the comp, and it was just Richmond
Tigers.
Yeah,
I don't reckon they won the flag that year though.
No, they didn't. Yeah, you're right.
But they dropped like 2 for the year.
They're just you know what? They're like reverse engineered of Brisbane. They're so good in finals.
Yeah.
They just their big guns stand up. Like, fucking scary.
Yeah.
Now I do want to share this story. I think I might have told you this briefly, but ladies and gentlemen, I was driving through Richmond. Was it last week or the week before? And I pulled up at a traffic light and turned to the left, and I just saw this poster of Caden MacDonald's face with the Spotify logo plastered next to his head.
Come on.
And the Goes All Right name right under him. And it was about his new podcast. And for those that haven't heard it, please go onto his onto Spotify or YouTube and check it out because it's absolutely fantastic and a natural, I must say, at it. But
Thank you.
I want to go back to before it came around because I feel like, not that I was surprised that you didn't have one already because now I'm more surprised because you said you were interested in radio and so forth. So what was sort of the catalyst for now to get it going?
Dill Buckley rang me.
Oh, did he?
So essentially, I was sort of shit kicking at the end of the year. Hadn't done much footy stuff in terms because I sort of balance YouTube with sort of other gigs that I do with the AFL and brand deals and whatnot, but it's all based around going to the footy and whatnot. And I hadn't done that for 2 years, so I was sort of living off Google AdSense, which is a crazy way to live. It's like if I get views, I'm making money, and if if this video isn't getting views, my stress levels are going through the roof. Like I'm relying on views here, and this has flopped. So essentially, I got to the end of last year. I had major burnout. And I was trying to smash some avocado on toast, avocado and tomato. And I got this phone call and I'm trying to do this footy series where me and my mates take on other YouTube creators in footy games. And I was trying to get this Guernsey designed. And I thought it was this Guernsey company. So I let it through to the keeper. I'm like, I need to eat. And then I'll get back to this phone call.
That's a great missed call. That's a great little start here.
So I phoned this company back thinking it's about the Guernsey and I'm like, oh, g'day guys, sorry I missed your call. And it goes, oh, g'day mate, it's Dill Buckley. And I went, no, it's not. Of course it's not.
Did you actually say that? You just thought that?
I thought it in my head. I'm like, of course it's not Dill Buckley. Why would Dill Buckley call me? And he goes, oh, look mate, I've been working with Spotify and we're going to get like a show off the ground. It's going to be a Spotify original. And if you're interested, just, come up for a chat. So, he sort of orchestrated it all and it's been the easiest thing ever working with Producy out of Dill's studios and working with Spotify as well has been super, super cruisy. So I've had a couple of podcasts in the past, but they were just made out of my garage or out of my spare bedroom. And they had some good followings, but, through COVID and whatnot, it's very hard to do a 2-man podcast when a second man can't come to your house.
Exactly right.
So, and then I had like a footy one as well called the Back Pocket Plugger podcast, which was named after one of my songs about being a
I was going to say, that's one of your most listened to as well, that song.
And so this just felt like the natural progression, like to come up to Melbourne every week, have access to players and interview them, but also talk a bit of footy in sort of a bit more of a professional environment than my spare bedroom. It's a dream come true because I've been trying to get into radio, so I've been absolutely loving it. And Spotify sent an email and said, "Oh, we're going to put some posters out," and I went, what an amazing thing to do, but I also am tall poppying myself and going, what am I doing up there?
Oh, no, it's great, mate.
So I'm going to graffiti them and get them down or put a moustache over. What are they doing up there?
Do you know why it was weird for me is because I was messaging you at the time I pulled up at the traffic lights because I think...
you're like, oh, there he is. Oh, wait, no.
I've turned and I've gone, get the fuck out. And then I've literally wrote you, by the way, just drove past your head in Richmond.
Yeah, it's... I haven't seen him in the flesh yet, so I might have to go for a bit of a stalk around the city.
It was on this. I might have been on this commute where we are today that I saw it, so it's probably around here. But
I might go for a bit of a gander. But
it's pretty surreal, mate. I think it's one of those things like you almost got to take it in just to like understand like what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, I'm not really taking it in. I'm going, what am I doing there? What is happening? I don't deserve to be there. I make footy content about the D's, and I message Jack Viney, get that down, get that down. No, it is crazy. And I'm really invested in the podcast. Like I've wanted to be in radio. That's all I've ever wanted to do. So doing this podcast has been amazing. It's a dream come true. And stuff like this that keeps popping up is mind blowing, and I'm very, very grateful.
So Producy, pretty much like the name in itself, produce the podcast and do all that sort of back end stuff. But does Spotify actually own the podcast? Is that what it means when it's okay, right?
Yeah. So
that's pretty good. Like you've got two powerhouses just magneted to you, which says a lot.
So I'm keen to see Joe Rogan at the Christmas party.
Correct, right? Call her daddy, all those people. Get around me.
It's crazy, and Spotify have been unbelievable, and they're so invested in sort of niche people trying to make niche creators, I guess. Like it's, they could get the biggest podcast in Australia and sign them up, but they're signing up people to develop them. So, it's been awesome. And my co-host, though, he's starting to get a little bit of a big head.
Oh, really?
So the other week we got invited to a Spotify function. It's this big function night, and they had someone hosting a trivia night for all these brands that are trying to work with Spotify or working with Spotify. So they had this trivia night, and myself and Connor, my co-host, were the guests to host a round of trivia. So it was one of those ones where I used to be on the Kiss FM street team, and we used to go to these sort of big agency nights and set up the dry bars and set up the Kiss signs, leave for an hour and a half, come back and pack it all up. But now that we're, on the podcast, we're talent. So we're rocking up, and this place is packed to the rafters, and it's this big Spotify night. So there's a lot of pressure to do a good job. And we were sort of talking with some big Spotify people before, the night. They're like, "Oh, how are you going to go up there? You'd be right." And I'm like, "Mate, I sit behind one camera and edit it myself. This is a room full of 500 people.
It's a different ballgame.
I'm terrified. I might need a bev." So they said, "Oh yeah, come to the bar." And my co-host, and this is where I had to pull him up, but he goes to the bar. He's like, "Oh, can we get a couple of shots of tequila?" And they said, "Oh, it's just wine and beers, mate."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh no, we're the talent." And they said, "Oh, right, you're right, you are." So they came back with shots of tequila.
They actually did, though. So he was half right.
He was half right. But
cheeky, but I love it.
He continued.
We are talent, mate. We're front end.
He continued to drop it all night. And,
no.
One day we'll wake up and the Spotify gig will be over.
Yeah.
But at least he's made the most of it.
Oh, that's good. So what's the plan with it? The regularity of it, the kind of guests, the content you're going to be pushing out?
I just love talking to like creators in particular. Like I've got the Shep mates and all those boys on before, but also like younger footballers coming up who probably haven't had their story told before. And just people that I've worked with, done content with and whatnot. It's great to just talk to up and coming people in the industry and pick their brain. And it's been great because, my co-host Connor, he did the radio school. He's worked with me at Kiss FM.
Right, so you both got it.
Yeah, he's been giving me a chop out on my channel for years and years. So it's cool that we get to go in every Monday, Tuesday, and whatever, and smash it out. So
you've had some ripping chats so far, and I'm always interested to ask other podcast hosts like how you approach it, like from gaining guests and also like your preparation for conversation, things you want to like. Because everyone's quite different. Some are super organized. Some are super not structured, but then they're very detailed in their research or whatever it is.
Yeah, I probably should do more research, but I don't want to ask them something that I've found off Wikipedia.
Yeah.
So most of the people that I get on, I'm a fan of. I've been sort of watching their Instagram and watching their development from sort of afar. And I like just having questions off the back of that. I like to ask questions like as if I'm catching up with them as well. So it's good to incorporate a little bit of, oh, you got drafted here. What was that like? But I like to be like, oh, so how are you? How are you traveling? What's going on?
I'm big like that too.
Yeah,
because I find like too much. I used to, man, on my first 20, 30 episodes on here.
Yeah.
Even blokes I played with, like I was researching the hell out of them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? And then I kind of like, I think it was a confidence thing too, because I think you speak really well just in general. So for you can probably get away with the bloke matey stuff from the get-go because you've been doing content for so long.
Yeah.
But for me, I thought, fuck, I better have a few questions in the locker here in case I get caught in the answer and I'm like, do you know what I mean? So I did a bit of research and then now like the less is more for me.
Well, the worst to do is just having set questions and you just rattle them off.
Correct.
Like I've done that before and I've ripped through all the questions I want to ask and I've got not a lot left.
Yeah.
And, the worst for me is though, like sometimes I'll think of a great question like, oh, great, I've got something off the back of this. And then I'll forget it and I'm like, fuck, like worst feeling ever. I had Libby Birch on today, who is an AFLW player for the D's, one of my favourite Melbourne Football Club players there is. And she'd finished like a sentence that she was going, talking about like playing for the Melbourne Footy Club, playing on the MCG in the prelim. And she goes, oh yeah, it'd be great to tell my grandkids about it. And then she just stops. And I was just like mesmerized by her story that it went quiet and she looked at me and, the producer's looking at me and I went, oh, it's my turn, isn't it? So even though, the people that produce you will go to work on that and they'll cut around it and it will look really seamless. I have moments like that all the time where I'm clunky or I've got to do it again and it's just, it's very natural.
That's why I love podcasts. Fun. You can kind of fuck up and keep going. You know what I mean? It doesn't really matter. Yeah. Just let it fly. It's the best.
I've absolutely loved it. And I just want to, I felt a little bit of pressure with it because it's like, got the Spotify name and it's sort of backed by Dill Buckley.
Yeah, but have you? Yeah, actually, a really good point. How do you feel with it all?
I don't. So a lot of people have been like, "Oh, you've made it."
Yeah,
but I feel like a draftee that's got drafted, but I haven't played many games of football.
Yeah.
So I'm not sitting here going, "What a great AFL career! I just got drafted. I'm the best AFL player." I'm going, I need to get a game and now I need to hold my spot and now I need to play consistently. Now I need to win a BNF. So I've sort of moved into this mindset of I really want to do a good job with it. And that's, what we're spending a lot of our time doing is trying to knuckle down and make it something, a lot of people have invested into me, which doesn't happen that often. So I really want to, I really want to make the most of it for them, but also myself.
Absolutely. Well, it goes all right. Everyone get onto it on Spotify. Also give Caden a follow on his YouTube or a subscription, I should say, because the content is regular and it's fucking frighteningly good. I do love it, and a lot of the variety as well, even though it's based around AFL. There's so much different. I actually watched, might have been last week, I watched the grand final Collingwood Richmond game, AFL Evo, Evolution. And you've literally created characters in the game. Lorne Tivador and this other bloke, Censored his name was, with a red helmet and tattoo. And it's just mate, how this is life now, How is this seen as work? It's just so much fun around it. But I guess just to round it out, I mean, for you, what sort of you strike me as a guy that just takes things as they come and have fun with it and run with it. But do you have a bit more of a strategy, a goal? Are you goal orientated or are you kind of just running with the flow?
I am goal orientated a little bit. I used to be a lot more than what I am now. I used to get the whiteboards out and have sort of month goal, month this, month that.
Right.
I'm just going with the flow at the moment, but I just want to. So it's the more the goalposts change, the more the stress is still there. So it's when I had 1,000 subs, I was stressing because I've got to make this work. Then you get 20,000 subs and it's I'm stressing because it's not a full-time gig yet. Then I get 50,000 subs and it sort of is a full-time gig, but it's not a fully paying living life on the beach full-time gig. Yeah. So then I'm stressing over that. So I think this is the first year where it feels a little bit more legitimate, all the work that I'm doing. And I just want to do that as long as I can. So if I can make a living off a bit of YouTube, a bit of podcasting, a couple of brand deals, maybe fire up some merch, I'm going to be happy days for the next 5 or 6 years until the kids stop tuning into the weird old bloke playing AFL Evo 35. So, I just want to keep doing this as long as I can and keep growing it and keep collaborating with people coming up and, keep DMing Jack Viney. That's all I want to do.
It's a testament, mate. 6 years of hard work, and you've been getting rewards for the whole time, but it seems like it's coming together, and I think you're tip of the iceberg for what's to come, mate. So thank you for coming on the Unlaced podcast. We appreciate it, mate. We love content creation here.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks for having me on, and keen for next week's yarn with someone who's in LA talking to models and hanging out. A bit more exciting than my life, but I appreciate it.
No, pleasure, mate. Awesome.